All right, we're in the 2021 Winter Major. Had a big ice storm at my house and went several days without power and about 4 days without internet. Just got internet back. That's why I haven't put anything out. Haven't had any. Haven't had the stuff. I could have hotspotted off my phone, but it doesn't work really well with this game. So let's go check out hole number one. So I think this is the order, and I'm really happy that they've gone back to the original Greenock Point holes, because the original holes, this is awesome. This is, of all of the courses that are in the game, this is probably my favorite course. And originally it was in Tour 6 and 10, 5 and 10. I think it was 5 and 10. And this course right here will teach you a ton of stuff. And it's a great course. But I think that this is the order of the holes. So if you go to Golf Clash Notebook, hole number one in the tournament is going to be hole number two, and hole number two is going to be hole number five, and hole number three is going to be hole number six, and hole number four is hole number one, hole number five is hole number seven, hole number six is hole number four, hole number seven is hole number three, hole number eight is hole number eight, and hole number nine is hole number nine. All right, let's check out hole number one in the 2021 Winter Major is going to be hole number two. All right, so really we want to go the black line. You can get over on the white line, and just depending on what type of ball you want to bring out, you can get this done with a power 3 ball if you're playing from the rookie tees. If you're playing from the back tees, you'll have to bring out a ball that's appropriate for whatever clubs you have, and that's the deal. You can play off the white line, but I think the best way to go at it is the black line, but you can get up there. And the deal if you're playing on the white line is you don't need to get all the way up on the green. If you can just get right out here in front, you got a great chip on. Very nice shot. What I found on this right here is to get your bounces right, you're really kind of looking down in this area right here to try and bring your ball around. It's very easy to end up in the sand up here, and it's very easy if you're coming at it this way to overshoot it and miss that rough area. But if you can just get right out here in front, that's good. But if you're playing on the black line, it's tricky. So depending on the club and the ball that you're going to bring, it's very easy to get caught up, and it's very easy to overshoot. And there's just a very happy medium in there, and I will have to go out here and I'll just have to figure it out. I'll just have to try and remember. I'm winging it. I'll just wing it. I'm going to take my number one bag, and I'm going to take a Titan. And a Kingmaker would work better, just to cut the wind down just a little bit, especially with the varying wind. So if you've got a headwind, it's going to affect it. So we'll just go out there and see what we got. We'll just go see. We'll go wing it. See if I can remember how to play. I really like there's a lot of really good opportunities on this course, and there's a lot of tough holes. These par fours that are here are several of the par fives. One of the par fives in particular that I can think of is my absolute favorite hole in the game. It's the guitar hole. And I'm really happy that they went back to the original design on this course, because they made it so much easier when they redesigned it. We played one tournament where we played these holes and they redesigned them, and it took all of the skill. What they did was they changed the holes where it was really skill based. So we got a little teeny bit of a headwind, so we need to leave just a little bit of room in order to work the wind out. It's 2.1 per ring, and I'm going to do, if I remember correctly, we do a little bit of an over adjustment here. So like in this case, that's 3.7. It's about 4.41, somewhere in that neighborhood, so right about 2 rings. You want to leave yourself a little bit of room down there. There's no reason to pinch yourself up against that rough. And that's another reason why a 3 side spin ball would work better. Why a Kingmaker would work better, so you can get that, and that's absolutely perfect. 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 Excellent. That's exactly what they're looking for. All right, let's see if we can get a similar result. Okay, so 3-2, that'd be about 3-5. So a little over a ring and a half. Right back to the red line. Hit a one ring great to the right. We'll see if that has enough distance to get me out of that rough or it gets caught up. I think it's going to get caught up in the rough. And that's what it looked like when I did it, especially going up against that headwind. I was putting just a little teeny bit of overpower on it, but a little teeny bit more would have been better. I may or may not qualify it today. I'm just out messing around since I just got my internet back. I could have went and played a practice round just to get a little bit of time and grade, but what the heck? Let's live dangerously. I noticed that they changed the tournament stuff, but they did not do anything for Ricky. I'm telling you, Playdemic does not want you playing Ricky. If you've got better clubs, you've been playing for a while, they're just not going to do anything to help out people that are playing Ricky. They want you to move up. And why? Because they're a ball manufacturer, so you don't use as many of the good balls when you're playing Ricky. And that was like 75 rings off. Distance was good. It would have been a little short. Well, maybe. If it was on track, it might have been right there. That's how it rolls. Good game. All right, let's go to hole number 2. Hole number 2. I'll just shoot this in one, and I'm probably not going to qualify today. I'm just going to go out and practice while I'm out on the course. Hole number 2 is going to be hole number 5, I'm pretty sure. All right. Now, there's several ways that you can go at this other than just the black line. You can do the black line, but you can also, there is a gap between these trees, and you can go straight at it and use the backboard and try and bring it back down towards the cup. This shot over here is what you're going to see pretty much everybody do. This shot is tricky because if you don't hit it perfect, you take a big risk of clipping that tree. But I'm going to demo this shot just so you can see what it looks like, because I think everybody's going to be doing this shot over here. This is one of the 2 racetrack holes. Both of the racetrack par 3s are in Greenock Point. The other one there's several ways to go at it, and I think going at it from the right hand side is the way to go for like consistency, trying to get a hole in one. And you can get a hole in one from this side, but this side right here it's a racetrack hole. I mean, anybody that's played it knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm going to go for this shot right here and see what I can get going on. So what I need here, I'm pretty sure that's a sniper shot. I want to take something with great ball guide. I'm going to take my number 2 bag just in case. But I think it's a sniper. And I don't think I need to bring a big ball, but I want to bring something that's got a little more side spin on it. So I'm going to start off with a Quasar, and we'll try it out. We'll see what it looks like. We'll go at it we'll go straight forward at it, because you probably won't see a lot of people demo the shot straight forward through the trees. There's several holes on this course that there's more than one way to go at it. It's always good to try and, me and myself, I always like to try and figure out more than just one way to go at a hole. Oh, it is a rock. Where am I at in my club? Pretty close to min. It's 3-3. I'm just going to move 3 rings. I'm about mid-club. I'm going to count it at 1.1 per ring and not do any extra adjustment, just make an adjustment. Hitting it perfect. And see which side it ends up on so that you can see where I set that up. It looks like it's going to come in on the right hand side. Distance was perfect. I will tell you, I've taken the shot. I can't believe that my opponent's going through the trees. I'm normally people will go from the other side. There is a rough bump that you can do down there too. Look at that. They're going to have a hard time getting to the spot where they can see it. Man, that is too close to the trees. If that doesn't clip a tree, I'm going to be super surprised. That's one of those things where the ball guide was, and they hit it great to the left, so that could have helped them. I really think that did help them. It may not have put them in the cut, but I really think that if they'd hit that perfect, it would have clipped the tree. It's never a good idea, even if your ball guide's telling you that you can make it through the trees, it's never a good idea to do that. I'm going to miss my putt so that I won't qualify today. Let my opponent win a chest. I'm giving back to the community. And you're going to give me the frowny face? I just gave you a chest. Come on, man. Thought we were friends. All right. That was one way to go at hole number 2. Hole number 3. Let's check it out. Give myself a little bit of room here. Let's go check out hole number 3. Hole number 3 is hole number 6. I think this is my favorite hole. Is this my favorite hole? This is my favorite hole. I love this hole. Okay. Now, they've changed the way that the sun. See which way the shadows are going here? They've changed the way that the sun is going, and there used to be some trees out here, and they would cast a shadow across this. And you wanted to get right to the shadow. Like, here's the shadow, you want to be right dead center in the middle. If you were past the shadow, you're actually, this is one of those things where a lot of people come on this hole right here. This hole right here teaches you so much stuff, because the drive here is super important, and it's not about hitting the ball out there. It's about pinpointing and setting the ball up exactly where you want it, and you want the ball right there. If you go out here, I see a lot of people, yeah, I pounded it down there. Yeah, well, now you're behind the trees, dumbass. And here's what the deal is you're trying to land on this pad right here, and if you get behind those trees, then you're going to have to come at it like this, and so your ball trajectory is going here, and now you're needing to do an S. And so it's really important that we end up right in that spot. Now, if you end up a little short, you can still get it up here, but you're going to be coming at it. You want to be as far down this hill as you possibly can to try and get towards the cup. So if you hit it farther back, you're going to be farther back here, and that means your first bounce is here, and your second bounce, you're going to have to pull it to the left to give yourself room, and you're pulling it away from the cup. And this is one of those greens where it will roll a mile. It looks like when you hit it, it's going to go 1 billion miles an hour, but it actually slows down when it goes down the hill, but it will roll down that hill. It's very hard, actually, to end up in the sand on the backside. I've seen it happen, but it's not normal. This area over here in the original configuration, when they reconfigured it here the last time we played these holes, this is the side that we were hitting to. But in the original configuration, this side over here is where the spectators stand. They do weddings and stuff here because nobody ever uses this part of the course. We're going to do a 10% on the drive, and you want to bring the most accurate driver that you have. So a 3-power ball works better. And anytime you're playing a par 5, a 3-power ball works better, because if you find yourself in any kind of trouble, it's always best to have, if you are in trouble, a 3-power ball could save you. It's not necessarily that it will save you, but it could save you. And I'm going to switch this up for let me think. I don't think I need all of, and I got the same exact topspin here. I'm gonna bring my rock. You can do this with a QB. I'll just use a QB. You can do this with a quarterback. You don't have to have anything special here. You don't have to have a big hitting club. And I love this hole. I've hit a lot of Albies on this hole, and it's one of those deals where you have to find the spot out there. I'm sure that somebody's found that spot where, like, if you hit into this spot and you've got this on it, then you give yourself a shot for Albie. But this is a tough par 5 to get an Albie on, but it is Albieable. But it all boils down to putting yourself in the right spot on the drive. And I'm not sure which way. They changed it here a few tournaments ago when we played these holes. They changed the direction of the sun, and so the shadows were different. And it's funny. I talked to my buddy Dale Appleby, and here they've changed the direction of the sun, so the shadows are going out. The shadows used to be rolling. See these trees back here? They used to cast shadows across the course. I think I only need about 3 topspin. And with that wind, I'm going to need a little more. It's 4-4. It puts me about 3/4 of a ring into power. I'm going to put a little bit of curl on it to bring it back to the fairway, and just a little teeny bit of overpower. Hitting it perfect. And I'm a little short of where I'd like to be. I'd like to be right about the edge of this shadow that's right here, but I got a clear window to this launching pad. I'm a little short, but not much. But if you hit it much farther than that, then you're going to be around those trees. And the deal is that from the spot that I'm in, you really want to put a little bit of right hand curl on this next shot. But if you put too much right hand curl, you've got to remember that those trees are there, and you will clip. I've seen a lot of people over the years clip those trees because they forget that they're there. They look at it and go, yeah, I need to put some right hand curl on it to bring it back around to the cup, and they put the right hand curl on there and forget that those trees are there and clip those trees. And it's bad. And my opponent got a little bit, that's a little bit more distance, and that's about right. Just a little bit. Now you can do a second bounce rough bump and just bleed out there. Let's see if I can work that wind out. I'm going to try that second bounce rough bump. I think I'm going to be short on wind. I am. So there's 2 rings. So I'm going to have to put a little bit of overpower on it. And just a titch of curl. And I hit it 75,000 rings good to the left. I did get the rough bump I was looking for. And it's rolling down. I'll be a little short. I love this hole. It's the first time we've ever had this hole in tournament, though, with headwind. Normally we get a side wind, but with the varying winds that they have now, this will be the norm. See if my opponent can get it up there. They hit it 1 ring great to the left. I hit it 75 rings great to the left, so that's good. They're on track. That's good. And now watch how fast that ball slows down. You would think it was coming down that hill. This is one of those courses, and this happens in the real world, where the greenskeeper will cut the grass against the green so that when your ball is rolling down the hill, it actually comes to a stop. And then on some holes, they'll cut it with the green so that when you hit on a hill like that, it rolls a mile. Because you would think with all the downhill momentum going right there that ball would have just rolled off the green, but there's several holes in this game I can think of that a hole like this you would roll off the green, and then there's several that you're like, well, I'm going to roll a mile and it stops. Eagle. All right, that was hole number 3. Is that hole number 3? That was hole number 3. Hole number 4 is going to be hole number 1. All right, this par 3 right here, I'm going to go for the rough bump. And I can't remember. I think we were bringing... I can't remember. I think I was bringing a Kingmaker just because that 3 side spin was, we were going to need a 3 side spin on it. And I'm bringing a sniper. I'm going to switch this back up for a rock. And a rock would work better on that hole because with the way that the wind was blowing, if we get headwind on there with a QB, you will have to put a little bit of overpower on that drive, and it would have been better with the extra distance from a rock. So a rock would have played better on that hole. Let's see if we can get her done. Now there's several ways that you can come at this. You can come at it, you can do the bounce over, you can do the rough bump, you can start off on the green side with a Guardian and you can try and stick it. You can also come at it from the left. And if you're playing from the from the back tees, from the pro tees, especially if you're playing an expert or from the master tees, your best bet's probably going to be from the left-hand side. And this hole right here is a great hole for a Thor's Hammer or an Apocalypse. Depending on where you're at out there, an Apocalypse might work better or what level you have it on because it's got a little bit more curl and you can bring it back around. But a Thor's Hammer's got that backspin, so you can really stick it up there. Three, 4. I'm going to do a 3-7 pull. There's 3, 5, 6, 7. That puts me a ring and a quarter into power. Hitting it perfect. Not quite enough of a wind adjustment against that headwind. And this is another hole. I don't think we've ever had headwind on this. Usually we have side wind. And normally the side wind is moving from the left to the right. And that's one of the other reasons, if you get a side wind on here, bringing out the Kingmaker, you can get in front of the sand trap. Whereas if you bring out a Katana, you'll have to make your adjustment. If the wind in one of the rounds is blowing from the left to the right, you'll have to make your adjustment and involve that sand trap, and that sand trap will distort the rings. And so a Kingmaker will put you in front of the sand, and a Katana will put you into the sand. You're going to see a lot of people playing this course just like that, doing that bounce over from that side. And with a headwind, it looks like you'll have to make a bigger than a 10% adjustment. In the hole. I need to miss some of these putts on these par 3s at least so I can drop, make sure I don't get in the qualification zone. in the hole. Birdie, birdie. Good luck in the tournament. Let's go check out hole number 5. Hole number 5. What is hole number 5? Hole number 5 is hole number 7. All right. I've got to remember what I was doing here. I've played this hole for years and years where I was just trying to get right in here. You can bring out a QB. You can bring out... The problem with this hole is there's a red line issue here. So depending on your clubs and where you're consistently hitting, if you're in this spot right here and you don't bring either the right ball or club combo, what'll happen is that there's a rough bump that's right here that is awesome. But you'll find that your red line is right there and you won't be able to get to that spot. And so it was all about being in the right spot right here and the right ball. And they changed this hole from the original configuration because there used to be the flagpole was here and there was literally a bowl around it. And you could get it to come down, and once it engaged that bowl, you could get it going towards the hole, and then they got rid of that bowl. So it's flat right there. And the last time we played this in a tournament, I've had varying success on this hole, so I decided that I was just going to change it up. And what I did was I started hitting it way up here. So I could still do a rough bump, but I was guaranteed to be in my grizzly from this range. And I was in mid club, but I was doing a max number minus 15%. I think that's what I was doing. And I made quite a few albies that week. I think in like 5 times I made like 4 albies that week. And so it actually, this hole right here in that particular tournament that we played in was the difference, getting all those albies on it, and won that tournament. But I can't, let me see if I can, let's just go out there and we'll just play it. I'm going to take my extra mile because I do know that I switched to hitting it way in the hell down there. And I'm just going to take a Titan because we're practicing today. Extra mile. And so normally, this is one of those holes that you do not have to hit it all the way down there where I'm trying to get over there. But you will find, if you're laying it up into this area right here, that you could very easily have a red line issue. This is not a bad hole if you're having those red line issues to bring out a Goliath. Because a Goliath will typically, there's no red line between your wood and your Goliath. I mean, it's instantaneous. You're at the point where you're at the maximum Goliath, and then instantaneously you're in your wood. And so that area where you're, if you had a Grizzly or if you were playing with a Saturn and you've got that big red line, you won't have that issue playing with a Goliath. If you've got an upper developed Goliath that does have a little bit better ball guide, it's not bad. I'm going to just try and hit it way in the heck over there. I'm going to do a little bit of an overpull. It would help if I grabbed the ball and pulled it back to the red line. "17 rings great to the left. A little shy of 75 rings great to the left. Would like just a little more distance, but that'll be fine. And if I remember correctly, and I can't remember if it was 15 or 25%. It was a weird deal because I just decided that I was not going to, the last time we played it where it was in this configuration, I just decided that I am not going to worry about where I'm at in my club. I'm just going to do a 1 per ring. And I did a 1 per ring, and I just kept working that shot until I found the right adjustment on it. I can't remember if it was 15 or 25, but it was an odd adjustment. And with this headwind, it's probably going to end up being a little bit more. I'm going to do a 20% just for shits and giggles because I'm going up against a headwind. See what the wind is, 3.8, 4.56 rings. I'm about mid-club. Close to max. .56 rings. There's 4, 5, 4.56. Let's see if I can hit one shot today perfect. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I over or under adjusted. I added on a little bit more than I think I normally would have. I think I over pulled it just a little. It's right there. It's like right there at that 15%. I like that shot from right there. And like I said, even though I'm more towards mid-club than I am max, the deal is sometimes when you get into those spots, you can start dicking around with it where you're making all kinds of weird adjustments, but just keeping, it's a 100% accurate club, just keeping my accuracy at one per, and then working the wind in the hole. This is a great hole, though, and we have a serious opportunity for Albie here, and I really think the best way to get it is with that rough bump. But depending on how you're taking that shot, let's go back and look at that hole, and depending on how you're taking this shot, you really, like if you are laying up in here, you really got to be aware of this red line issue. And you can come out here with just, basic stuff to do it. Or you can try and hit out there where I was at, and it guarantees you that you're going to be in your long iron for sure if you try and hit it farther forward. But you don't have to take that risk. You can just come out here with a QB and lay it up here and then go at it. Just make sure that you got the right ball club combo for the red line. All right. That was hole number 7. That was hole number 5 of the tournament. Hole number 6 of the tournament is going to be on hole number 4. All right. So let's talk about this. I'm not a fan of the white line at all. And the deal is a lot of times people will try and get out there and they use this little ramp. And this ramp is it's at an angle, it's uphill. If you hit it a little bit off to the left or the right, your ball is going to go on a wild ride. The yellow line, where you're getting a bounce here and you're bouncing over, one of the things that I see a lot of people do wrong when they're doing this shot is you're ideally, let me pull back just a little. Ideally, when you're doing this shot, if you draw a line along that rough area, you're not going to get a perfect look at it. But if you're way up here in the corner, you will be able to get more run, where you've got a bounce that's here, and you're going to get a little bit more run at it. Typically, you're going to end up down in this lower area down here, right about where the yellow line is. And what I see a lot of people do is they try and get to the left, and so they'll set the shot up, and their second bounce is just barely in here, and they'll put curl on it. Well, the thing you got to remember about curl is the first bounce, the curl is not really, when you put a little teeny bit of curl on there, it doesn't really affect the first bounce because it's coming in like this and this angle. So the first bounce doesn't really represent the curl. It's the second bounce that represents the curl. So now you're coming off in this, and they'll clip this rough right here, and they'll just bleed out. Now you can make it from there, but that's not the shot that you're looking for. So if you can't get your second bounce far enough ahead of this, just go straight. It's not a bad shot from out here. And it's very easy here to put on a little bit more topspin so that you can try and put a little bit of curl on it. But what'll happen is then you'll bleed off into the rough, and you can make it from out there, but that kind of defeats the purpose too. You want to be in the fairway here. So if you're taking the yellow shot, you're probably going to end up in that area, and that's not a bad area to be in. On the black line, I kind of do a combination of the white-black line where I set up like right in this area right here. You've got a shit ton of room. So the deal here is it's all about topspin and curl. So if you've got an APOC 4 or bringing out your extra mile, you know, putting on max left hand side spin, max left hand curl. This is a great shot, great hole for a 3 power, 3 side spin ball. You're going to do overpower to get yourself out into that area, but you don't have to pinch yourself up against this line. Give yourself plenty of room, at least 3 rings. Depending on the level of your extra mile, you could give yourself more. And you're trying to get as far as you can up here so that you can get into you can get up there into your wedge range. And what I did find was, for a long time, I always played this hole with where I was in my long iron range, and I brought a long iron that has backspin because this hole kind of lends itself to using a lot of backspin. But what I found is that you don't need, if you're up there in the right spot, about where the second bounce is on the white line, if you're in that spot, you can easily get this done with a Hornet. You don't need to bring a Thorn, although a Thorn, if it has better ball guide, doesn't have as good accuracy. So if you are doing backspin, a Thorn is definitely a club to bring. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. All right, had to go talk to a man about a horse. Let's see here. Let's go check it out. Let's go take a... Probably have to get back in the game. Here we go. Black screen. I'll take an X. You could take, if you've got an APOC 5, even an APOC 4. APOC 4 will if you've got a... I know it sounds strange, but if you've got an APOC 4 and you've got a lower developed, like maybe a level 7 extra mile, your APOC 4 would be better, just because you got more curl on it. It's very easy on this hole too to over curl it and end up in trouble in this area right here, and you can recover from there, but ideally we want to get some running. We want to end up right up in that area. All right, so I'm gonna bring an extra mile. I'm gonna bring that bag right there, and I'm gonna bring a Titan just because I don't want to waste the Kingmakers. I'm pretty sure I can get it down with a Titan. And we've been getting headwind on every single hole up to this point, so I'm not going to be surprised if we don't get headwind here. I was really surprised that I saw the tournament stuff that they made changes and they're going to put in 55% of pro, and if you're in tier 3, and they're going to raise the percentage, but I was really kind of surprised that they didn't raise the percentage up to 70%. Think about the way that they have the tier structure now. They've made it so that there's a bunch of people that aren't going to make that you just, you know, you're, even if you shoot really good scores, you're just not going to make you may not make the opening round, and you may not make it from the opening round to the weekend round. And we're talking about players that are shooting really good scores that aren't making it because of how they've manipulated the deal. It's one of you know, the scores at the top are the same as what it's taken in the past to win. It's just the whole deal of, you know, if you're playing the game and trying to have fun, on what it takes to make the rounds. All right, so 3-5, that is like, that's going to be a tough deal from there. I'm not sure if I can make that with that wind. Let's see what we can get done. Let's see if we can make it. That was at least 4 rings good to the right. I'm not even sure where that put me. Where did that put me? My opponent is just, I bet you they're at minimum club. They're barely into it. Yeah, what you want to do when you're in that situation is you can get a little bit closer to the hole so that you can do what they're doing right there. Can hear my neighbors out with the chainsaw cutting the tree down. I was out cutting trees down. I have a big about 120-foot fir tree in my backyard that's completely stripped, and I got a pile of stuff out there. I was cutting on it, and then it started raining, and it is really cold outside. Close. Let's see what kind of shot I got here. What kind of shot do I have? I can do a rough bump. Can I get the rough bump done? The freaking ball. All right, 3.8. Do 4.1 rings. I don't think I have enough room to work the wind out. There's 4. I'm about maybe a little over a third of a ring into power. Hitting it perfect. A little too much power. Little too much. My opponent actually had the shot right there, and if we're dealing with headwind, the 3 power ball is not going to work. We're going to have to bring out a 4 power ball in order to get. I think I still would have got up there if I hadn't hit it 4 rings good to the right. It still would have went over there, but with a 4 power ball, we're going to have a much better shot at it. It's not necessary to bring out a 5 power ball there, although a lot of people will. It's not absolutely necessary. I will miss this so that I will make sure that I don't get into any kind of a qualification zone today. No problem. All right, that was hole number 6. Hole number 7. Hole number 7 is hole number 3. What is hole number 3? This is the other racetrack hole, and I like the white line better. So this is, once again, you can hit from this side right here and try and bring it down the hill to the cup. But I think what you're doing from the white line is you're doing the same thing. You're coming up the hill and then you're bringing it back down. You can get in a spot over here where you can ride it right to the cup, but I actually think you might have a better shot at it trying to bring it down the hill. And it's definitely a sniper. You can also play this with a Guardian. I can't remember what ball we're bringing here. It seemed like we were having to bring... I'm going to start off with a Katana, but I may have to up that to a 3 power ball. I'll have to see. We'll have to just wing it. Part of the problem is I'm just not interested in putting in the 20 or 30 hours a week that it requires to be at the top of the charts. At one time, I was willing to put in the time, but the way that they have it set up now, I'm just not interested in having to invest that much of my time. But I still like playing these holes. Okay, so we have several options here. Getting up into this range. Let me see if I can get it back just a little. Maybe better to push the wind out. Try and hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. See if we can get some drop down towards the cup. I think it's going to miss on the left. It went a little bit farther than I thought it was. Just barely. it carried just a little bit more down there. That probably, if I would have did maybe a little bit of an adjustment, maybe a 10% adjustment, I would have had a better roll at it. Now you can do this too. You can hit through the trees here, just like on the other one. You can do the same thing where you can use that backboard. The deal here is you want to bring a club that's got enough backspin that you can hit through and then not end up getting caught up here at the top. I like these racetrack par threes. The deal is that most of the time you're going to find yourself, when you're shooting from this side over here, you're going to find yourself a little low of the cup. And there is a spot out there. You can find that spot and you can work it so that you can get it. But there's so many variables when you're doing the racetracks. And it looks like that's going to be a little low of the cup. And that spot right there is exactly what I'm talking about. I do like coming at it from the right-hand side better. I think you have a better shot at it, and you can work that shot out. I think it's more repeatable from the right-hand side. I will miss just to make sure. I'm seeing a lot of people do that where they're lining it up like that and then it goes in. I'm not sure if that's just on my end or what the deal is, but messing around with those. What are the people at the top got? 16? Minus 12 is the minimum. There are definitely opportunities. I think all three of the par fours here are absolutely. One of the par fours, the next hole that we're going to play is probably the hardest of the par fours, but it is still makeable. You got great opportunities on the par fives. These par threes can be done. So hole number 8 is hole number 8. Is it 8 and 9? And maybe it's hole number 9. We got a great Albie opportunity on hole number 9. This hole right here, there is another way that you can play this hole. So let's talk first about the black line. So if you're playing the black line, if my recollection is correct, if you're using an extra mile, you're going to need to bring a Marlin. You're going to need to bring, and this is you could bring a low wind, but you're going to need to bring a 0 power ball because of where your red line is. So if we've got headwind here, you got plenty of room to work the wind out. But if we've got any kind of tailwind, it can be, your red line's right there, and you may not have enough room to work the wind out. If you're playing from the pro tees, you will definitely have enough room here. You're going to have plenty of room in your club, just depending on what ball you bring. If you're playing, there's actually 2 ways that you can play it up here. You can play off of this and try and bring it around, so that you end up here in the front. You want to try and take this sand out of the ballpark. The other way to come at it is to use this area right here so that you're coming straight through and doing a rough bump off of this, as opposed to being up here high. If you're up here high, once again you are putting the sand into play. It's very easy to get into the sand, even from down here. If you hit it anything to the right, it's very easy to end up in that sand. I'm actually going to do a shot that's not on here, where you're starting off in this area right here and you're bringing it around. Now, I've tried this shot, and if you really want to bring it around, if you put on max curl, you will clip these trees. So you can put some curl on, but you want to bring out a 3 side spin ball. And if I remember correctly, to get up into this area, I was using a QB. I'm going to use a rock right here, but if you're using your QB in this area, it works better if you bring out a 3 power. A Kingmaker is the ball to bring. But if you've got a rock, an upper developed rock, I don't think you need to bring out a Kingmaker. You can probably do this with a Katana. And I'm going to try it with a Katana with my number 2 bag, and if that doesn't work, I'll switch to a Kingmaker. And you can put a little bit of curl on there, but you can't put a lot. The deal is that there's a ridge on this green. So the green is kind of on the pin side of the green, which is on the right-hand side of the green. There's a flat area that rolls up to the cup. But on the left-hand side of the cup, everything rolls off to the left. And it's very easy to end up on the green, but then roll off down at the bottom. and end up in the rough on the bottom of it. Got plenty of room with that ball. Three, 6. Do a 4-ring pull. I'm going to put some curl on it. You just can't put max curl on it. Getting it perfect. It's very easy to end up right there where I'm at. Needed more backspin. At least I think I put 3 on there, and I think probably 4 to 5 would have been better. It would have stuck me more at the pin height, and more curl would have been definitely better. Now my opponent, I'm hoping, let's see if they'll do the rough bump. This rough bump right here, especially with a rock and a kingmaker, that's a great look at it right there. That is a really good look with the rock. Really good. And if I remember correctly, up there at the top, doing a 10% adjustment, or a little bit of an adjustment, that should be nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. And you're going to see a lot of people coming at it from that direction. Wind should not play a factor here. Just in case it does, I'm going to hedge my bet. And I hit 60 rings good to the right. Good distance. This is a good practice round. I haven't played these holes in a long time, but I love this course. This is my absolute favorite course. I don't think there's another course in the game that will teach you as many skills as Greenock Point. It teaches you blind curl. It teaches you all kinds of skills. It's one of those courses where a lot of these holes, it's not about how far you can hit it. It's about putting it in the right spot. And I really like that. There's several courses in the game that are like that, where like hitting the ball out there is not nearly as important as hitting it out there to the right spot. Now, there's 3 ways to play this hole. There's actually 4, but the 4th way is sketchy. These 2 spots right here, it will depend on where your ball ends up out here, whether or not you have this lane open through the trees. And there is a lane that can be open through the trees to try and get yourself out here in the front, or get yourself on to go for it. And sometimes you may slightly overshoot that, and you'll be on the black line coming around the trees. And this is a totally blind curl shot. You have no idea where you're going to end up out here. But this green has a backboard. So if you end up high on the green up here, it will roll back down towards the cup. It's hard to get a look going straight at it from the black line, just because your ball guide from where you're at is going from this area right here to this area, and so your ball guide's going out here. So you're going to have to do a blind curl shot where you're putting curl on it to bring it around, and it's going to be difficult to know how much topspin to put on so that you end up in the right spot. So you could find yourself being short. It's actually harder to end up long here. It can happen, but it's actually harder because of how steep the green is and that backboard. The white shot through the trees is ideal. and you don't have to work as hard to try and get to that area. But whenever you're hitting through trees, you need to hit perfect. The other way that you can go at this, and depends on which way the wind's blowing on how big of a ball you're going to bring out, is there is a shot. Let me back up just a little. There is a shot that you can do that goes through, and it's ideal to take this with a 3-power ball. But if we're getting a big headwind, you may need to bring out a bigger ball, where you can come through from this area. And there's a little teeny window where you can get to this spot right here, and max topspin. You can't put on a lot of curl because of these trees, but max topspin, you can, and what you're trying to do is just bleed yourself out. You're going to end up doing a rough bump and just bleed yourself out and end up right here, and you've got a nice long iron shot right to the cup. Now the other way you can come at it is you can try and come over here and try and bridge this gap and try and bring it over, but I've had limited success with this, and I found myself in this area a lot trying to do this shot, and it's difficult if you're down here to get around the trees. It's really hard to hit over them, so you're going to have to go around them. I think of the 2 shots that aren't on here, this way right here is the better way, and this is the way that I like to go, because if you can get to the other side, you definitely have a clear shot at it. But if we've got any kind of a headwind here, you have to use overpower. And this is one of those shots where you want to bring out however big a ball you need to bring out so that you don't have to do any overpower. And it's gonna be one of those 2 bags. Once I can get that Apocalypse up another level so that I can pick up some more topspin. One more level and it'll almost be the same as a level 9 extra mile, and if you get your Apocalypse to level 7, then your extra mile is pretty much obsolete at that point. So the cool thing about an extra mile is you get it early, and you're going to be able to play with it for a long time. In one-on-one, however, I play with my rock as my primary club. I'm not sure I like a lot of the especially the par 3s, the shootouts. They've changed them. And it used to be on a lot of the par 3s that if you had a Guardian, it was really the club to have. And they've changed a lot of those holes to the point where now they're so much easier to play. And the Guardian's not the club to have. Now I may have to drop down to a Katana. It's all about you. In this particular area, I'm going to have to do overpower, and it's one of those things where it's almost better to do max overpower than it is to do some overpower. And I've always found this shot going up to the top up here can be very difficult, and if you screw up at all up here, end up in the rough over here, or mess up at all up here at the top, you are not going to make it. You're not going to get on. All right. Choo-choo. One ring great, maybe 2 rings great to the right, and I'm going to clip right here. But you can make it from down there. That's the deal. If you've got a Nirvana, you can make it. And I'm pretty sure you can probably make it with any rough iron in the game. And you've got a nice clear shot. Whereas if you're going up there to the top the way my opponent went and you end up in trouble, you're in trouble. You won't be able to recover. So as far as like risk versus reward, the reward here would be is that you make that shot and you get to the other side and you got a grizzly going into the hole or whatever long iron you're going to use. The risk is that you don't make it and you end up in the rough, but you can recover. So there's not a big risk. Whereas if you hit to the top and you don't make your shot, you're screwed. It's no bueno. And it'll catch the break and just roll down the hill. Okay, we got a good shot here, I think. See where my max club is. I'm at max. It's about 2 per ring. I'm going to leave enough room here to be able to work the wind out. Four, 5. There's, let's think about it here. It's 2 per ring. Let's get the right angle. There's 4, 5 and a little. Hit it 2 rings straight to the left. And just a little short. That's the thing about down there at the bottom, is you can recover. So anytime you can give yourself a better spot to come at it with a long iron, as opposed to coming out a blind shot with a wood, and even hitting through the trees over there, it's not the preferred way to come at it. You've got a shot through the trees where you can go right at it, but it's still going to be a lower percentage shot than hitting it with a long iron from the fairway. It's a draw. All right, that was a practice round to remind myself what these holes are all about. Love this course. I'm sure that won't make it. Let's hope that doesn't make it. Oh yeah, it won't make it. Good. And you can see what we're looking at here is we should be -12 as the minimum score. And the person at the top's picked up 4, so let's see where they picked them up. Picked up the par 4s. Picked up hole number 1, that par 4. Got a hole in 1 on hole number 2. Picked up hole number 8, that par 4. So the par 4s in Greenock Point are makeable. All of them are makeable, and 2 of them we can get on. So you got a really good opportunity on 2 of them to put yourself at -14. And there's lots of opportunities on this course to pick up holes, or pick up shots. I don't know that there's any hole in this course that's not makeable if we can find the right spot and get our wind adjustments right. The deal on this course is that playing it with headwind will be a little bit different on ball selection from what we've done in the past. So this is Playdemic being able to manipulate the wind so that we're forced to bring out bigger balls. And as I was saying earlier, that's why they really don't want people playing rookie, because if you're playing rookie, you don't have to bring out anything bigger than a Titan, the king of balls. You don't have to bring out any of that stuff. Whereas if you're playing in pro or expert, especially when we're going against headwind, you're gonna find situations where if you don't have a 4 or a 5 power ball, you're not gonna be able to get your shot done. All right, that was a look at Ricky, just glancing at the holes. Thanks for watching, and I may shoot some tomorrow. I may qualify tomorrow just so I can get it, because I like the Greenock Point hole, so I may go out there and qualify tomorrow, and we'll see. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there.